Alrighty, let's do a quick overview of what came in the box. This is the base. One notable difference is the temperature settings are on the base. Most of the other Nesco models, the temperature settings are on the cover. Here it is on the base. Then we got 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the trays that we use for fruit, veggies, and jerky. You can buy additional trays, and this will hold up to 30. For this tray right now, so I'm doing this January of 2004, you can buy an additional tray for $14.99. And like I said, it can hold up to 30 trays. Then we also have a mesh sheet. The mesh we're going to use for sticky fruits, herbs, and spices. And we have a solid tray. Oh, and the mesh sheet, I'm sorry. The mesh sheet you can also buy additional. Right now, as of January 2004, they're available on Nesco.com for $8.49. We have the solid tray. This we're going to use for drying soups. You can dry scrambled eggs, and you can make fruit roll-ups. So we have one of these trays. You can also buy additional of these for $8.49. And then this is the cover. So it's just a basic cover now. Simple. None of the settings are on here. Those are all on the bottom, like I said. So the cover. And we are going to put this to use. So don't go away. Oh, I forgot to mention, it also comes with a booklet with recipes and instructions. All right, so I appreciate that it has a decent amount of recipes too. I mean, there's probably, quick glance, 10 to 12 recipes in here. So that's wonderful. And if you want to experiment with beef jerky first, they are giving us some Jerky Cure as well as some seasonings for jerky. But today, we're gonna actually start by making homemade paprika. And you won't believe how easy it is. And that might be a hint right there for you. Alrighty, so I have my peppers cut up. And like I said, we're gonna be making homemade paprika. And one thing that I am noticing, since this is both unboxing, a review, and our first recipe with our Nesco Gardenmaster Pro, the only thing that's throwing me off a little bit is when you put the first tray on, it has clips here. So in my mind, these clips should clip in to give us a nice steady, flat, with no gap, okay? But they do not fit in. They're just not measured up. Like, you can fit one in, and that's it. But the others then do not line up. So what I'm finding is I have this gap. But I saw another unboxing video, and the young lady claimed that when you put the produce on and the weight will then make that seal. I just feel like it should be sealed automatically. You know, what if you're doing herbs? So I'm really thrown off by this. But I'm going to go ahead and let's give it a go. I'm going to put my peppers on. I'm using 2 different types of peppers. The sweeter the pepper, the sweeter the paprika you will have. So I'm using 2 different kinds of sweet peppers. If you want a hot, spicy paprika, use hotter peppers. But we're using some sweet ones. So I'm going to go ahead and put my peppers on the trays, and then we'll put the trays on and we'll see if that theory does work, because that gap is driving me crazy. But let's see. The other thing I want to note, I'm not sure if my peppers are going to fill up the 4 trays. Whether or not you have the 4 trays filled, you want to use all 4 trays. So I'm going to put my peppers on. If they only fit 2 or 3 trays, that's fine. We're still going to put the empty 3rd or 4th tray, whatever it is. We want a total of at least 4 trays. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start stacking, layering my peppers, and we'll get dehydrating then. Alrighty, so I have my 3 trays on, and I actually did pretty much use up all 4 of the trays. You want a single layer of your produce, your vegetables, whatever it is that you're using, your herbs. You just want to have a single layer. And so I'm not getting that seal at the bottom. Let me move this down so you can see. Okay, so here we have the 4 trays. Let me try putting the lid on. The lid is not that heavy, so I can't imagine that it's going to make a huge difference, but let's give it a try. Okay, lid is on, and I'm still seeing a little bit of a gap. Now, whether or not that gap is going to make a difference, I'm not sure. This is my first journey into dehydrating, so I am not sure, but we are going to give it a try and see how we do. Alrighty, so let's get started. Let me double check what temperature we want and get this going. Before we get it started too, I just want to talk about some of the specifics of what makes the Nesco Gardenmaster Pro Food Dehydrator my pick. Besides for I'm getting a little bit of a gap, which may mean nothing. Like I said, this is all new to me, so I'm not sure if that matters or doesn't matter. What I love about this is it's 1,000 watts of even heat distribution, which means quicker drying. So our peppers are going to take much quicker to dry than they would in a different dehydrator. The heat also, the heating element is on the bottom. There's a fan, a powerful fan that forces the heat up the exterior pressurized chamber, and then horizontally across the trays for even airflow distribution. Basically what this means is it is going to cook stuff 4 times faster, and you do not have to move the trays at any point. We're just going to turn it on, set our temperature, and walk away, come back in a few hours just to check on it. We do not have to come and keep rotating the trays or doing any of that stuff. So that is a huge advantage to the Gardenmaster Pro. Okay, so we'll get started in 1 sec. I'm just double checking my dehydrator recipe and instruction book that came with it. And it has a whole bunch of items and the time. Apples, bananas, blueberries, canned fruit, which is super interesting. I would love to try some canned pineapples one day. But they don't have peppers. For some reason, peppers are not in the list. So what I found online, oh wait, let's see, drying vegetables, anything different here? What I have found online is that I'm going to do the peppers. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay, that's it. There's another page that has peppers. Peppers here. Remove the stems, seeds, cut into 1/2-inch pieces. Thankfully, I did that. 5 to 12 hours. Okay, so what I found online is we're going to set the temperature to 135, And online it said approximately 12 hours. So here is 5 to 12 hours, which is quite a difference. And that is because of the super powerful 1000 watts and that even heat distribution. So we're really going to put it to the test. Online says 12 hours in just your average dehydrator, and we'll see where our peppers end up between this 5 to 12 hours. And then it's real easy. We're just going to turn it on. And like I said, I'm going to set my temperature to 135. I feel like it would be a little quieter if it didn't have that little bit of open space, but it's not that loud. It's reasonably quiet. And it doesn't feel, I mean, there is some air, of course, escaping out the back, but it, like I said, it may not make any difference whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this be for a few hours, and then I'm going to come back and give it a check, and we will look at the results together at that few hour point. Hi guys, hopefully you can hear me. If not, I'll do a voiceover. But I just came back in to check, and I want to just show you that there is no more gap. So maybe it was just from packaging and the heat warmed it up enough that it is all now sitting flush with no gap. So that is, I believe, what should happen, and that's definitely what did happen. Alrighty, it has been 3 hours, and I want to just take a look and see where we are at. Okay, so they're getting drier, but they are still very flexible. Now these were some of the smaller ones. Let me just look at some of the biggers. Okay, and these are taking longer because they are bigger. So I'm going to say we definitely have probably, I would guess, a couple of hours to go still. All right, so that's our 3 hour check. Alrighty, now we're going to do the 5 hour check. Let's get this lid off. And let's take a look. Okay, they're getting there, but still have a little ways to go. They are still a little pliable, I think would be the correct word. Those are the smaller ones. And let's check the bigger ones. And also still a lot of play, not crispy yet at all. So although some pieces, some of the thinner are, I mean, they're getting there. They're just not there yet. So that again is our 5 hour check. Get that recovered and turn it back on. All right, guys, we are at the 10 hour point. So this is going a little bit longer than I thought, but the internet did say 12 hours. My girlfriend also forewarned me that peppers take forever, and that they are. So here we are. I mean, we're close. That did kind of snap, but that one still is a little bit pliable. And these were the bigger peppers, and definitely still pliable. I think that's, am I using the right term? I hope I'm using the right word. That's the chemo brain still, but here we go. So I'm thinking we may have to go the full 2 hours. That's what it's looking like so far, but that's fine. And we'll just keep it running. Alrighty, we're going to finish now doing a voiceover. I have 4 boys, so it gets a little noisy at times. So we're going to take our dried peppers, and I'm putting them into a mason jar. You do not have to grind all of your peppers at once. You can just grind what you need, and then just put those peppers in your mason jar, tightly sealed, into your pantry, and they're fine. And when you need more, you can just grab them and grind them at that time. So I'm just taking enough for what I need that I'll be using, and putting them into my Ninja blender here. And we're going to go ahead and get that blended up. And the Ninja, of course, works magic. It took no time to turn that into powder. And there we have it. Certainly reduces down a lot, but that's okay. It is worth it. We now have homemade paprika with no preservatives, no chemicals, no anything in there that we don't know about. And as I've been talking about my chemo brain, you can imagine that this is really an important topic for me. So going back to basics is the best thing that I can do for my family, and I hope that you guys agree as well. This dehydrator is going to be such an important part in that process for me. So I went ahead and I put it into a little shaker, seasoning shaker. Sorry, I lose my words at times. And there we have it. Beautiful homemade paprika. The difference between the store made and homemade is just night and day. So, in conclusion, let's just talk about the Garden Master Pro. I absolutely love it. The gap was a non-issue. It was no issue at all. I absolutely enjoyed using this machine, and I would highly recommend it to everyone. I absolutely love the versatility of it, and I thought it was just incredible. So, A plus, highly recommend.